Alright, Section 3, Wheels. Wheel type on the axle, rule number 123, wheel of the press, secure the axle, they accept the wheel with the axle, the special design construction, whether proper safety means to provide with the holding wheel with the axle, the brake, with the punching, with the trim of the wheel, with the fail, with the drive, and pin, with the axle will be done, not be done. Wheel tires are applied with the wheel, with the trim, with the diameter of the wheel, with the same with the axle, will not vary with the 3/32 of the inch, with the tire, with the trim, with the new tire, with the ply, with the drive, with the wheel, with the ride, connected to the drive, with the wheel, bay, with the such as the tires will not vary with the 3/32 of the inch, with a single pair of the tire, with the ply, with the ride, connected with the driving wheel. Base for the diameter, so for the tire will be 3/32 of the inch, average diameter, the other tire with the same driving wheel. Wheels for the standard gauge will be without gauge with the inside of the gauge flange, measure for the on base for the least 53 inches with more than 53.5 inches. Distance back to back flange of the wheel of the mount, same with the axle will vary more than 1/4 inch. The wheel for the center divided rims will be fitted properly with the iron steel fitting block with the automatic autogenous wheel before the tires are applied with the will be maintained properly. When shims are inserted between the tire of the wheel, shim with no more than 2 thickness of the shim that may be used, one of which will extend the entirely around the wheel. Shim with extend the entirely around the wheel may be in one piece, one or more pieces, provided that they do not overlap under no circumstance with more than 2 thickness of the shim at any point. Counterbalance will be maintained with a suitable condition of the shrivel on locomotives. Roads for the minimum the height of the flange range of the tread will be 1 inch for the switching locomotive, 7/8 of an inch, except for the construction does not permit the full height of the flange of all the driving wheel with the rigid wheel base. Height flange at least 2 pair of the drivers may not be less 1 inch of the road locomotive, the other flange with the minimum of a height of the 5/8 of an inch, the plane tire of the 5/8 of an inch. Flanges read with the front with the rear drive with the track swivel with the drive with the safety guiding with the locomotive with the maximum tape with the tread with the driving wheel with the throat flange outside of the wheel with the locomotive view of the road strip with 1/4 inch of the locomotive view of the switching strip with the 5/16 of an inch maximum tape with the tread stroke wheel with the throat flange outside of the wheel with within 5/16 of an inch minimum width of the tire with the driving truck wheel with the standard gauge locomotives will be 5.5 inch of the flange tire with the 6 inch of the plane tire with the minimum width of the tire with the driving truck wheel with the narrow gauge locomotive will be 5 inches. Plane tires 5.5 inches of the plane tires. The limits prescribed in the CH and J are above that may be modified by the application of the commanding officer of the investigation show the conditions warrant such modification. 88 wheel defects rule number 124 wheels and any of the following defects will not be continued with the slid flat with a flat spot 2.5 inch of the over length with the 2 or more adjoining spot with each with the 2 inch over the length with a broken chip with the flat with the chip exceed with the 1.5 inch of the length with the 1.5 inch of the width broken rim of the tread measure with the flat flange point with the 5/8 inch above the tread less than 3 3/4 inch width wheels with the back of the tread with the count with the crack with the shell of the spots with the 2.5 inch of the overse over the numerous for the danger and safety of the wheel any seam in the running lengthwise with a limit of 3 3/4 inch from the flange is shown in the figure 13. When the wheels weight flange of the flat vertical surface with extend 1 inch of the lunge, more of the tread with the flange of 15 16 inch of an inch to the right of the last gauge with about 0.38 of an inch above the tread, except for the cast iron cast steel wheels on the axle, journal 5/9 by 9 inches over the but do not be continuous with the flanges having the flat vertical surface extending 7/8 of an inch or more of the tread with the flange 1 inch thick. Or less gauge of the point with 3/8 of an inch above the tread wheels of the tread worn 5/16 of an inch on the locomotive the road with the 3/8 of an inch on the locomotive with switching for the front mouth of the gauge of the C figures 15 and 16 wheels cracked outward wheel flat with a cracked track with a cracked tread cracked plate 1 or more cracked bracket with the wheels on the locomotive loose on the axle loose broken and rented effective retaining ring with the tires or bolt the adjacent spoke with the 25% of the spoke with the wheel broke with the flange more than 1.5 inch of the tread with the top flange but the thickness of the tire of the rims less than shown figure 1 2 3 4 5 and 6 and 7. Wheel of the tire gave the rolled steel wire 1 3/8 inch left the thickness throughout the throat flange 1 inch for less of the thickness of the rim of the lead with the road surface with 1/8 of an inch 1 1/8 of an inch left in the thickness of the throat with the flange and 3/4 of an inch left of the thickness of the rim and you with the switching surfaces limit show of the K and L above the figures 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7 that may be modified upon the application for the commanding officer investigation show the conditions warrant the sub modifications. Note see figures 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 and 15 for gauging of the gauging 89 minimum tire thickness of rule number 125 of the minimum thickness of the driving wheel with the same with the narrow gauge level of the locomotive. C with the chapter 4 retaining ring with U with the measurement tire with the take with the outside circumference of the ring with the minimum thickness of the tires be as much of the limit as specified above the tires extend between the retaining ring with the provide but does not extend reduce the thickness of the tires less than 1 1/8 of an inch throughout with the flange of the counter board with the retaining ring minimum thickness of the driving wheel tire with the manual will be 1 inch for the locomotives operated with the track of the 2-foot gauge thickness of the tires weight per axle less than 30,000 pounds more modified upon the application of the commanding officer investigation show the condition with warrants of modification. Section 4 cab lights whistles bells sanders and signals.